Hey, Sunflowers. Just taking a few seconds to make sure I got everything set up correctly. Um, and also giving everybody a few minutes to actually, get in here so we can start this discussion. So just give me a few minutes and we'll get started. Hey, Chi, welcome in. See, what I should have done, what I should have done was found some like royalty free music to have play in the background, but I didn't think that far ahead. So here we are. That's okay. We're gonna get it started ASAPidly. And give it about maybe 1 or 2 more minutes and it will actually get started. Hey, Drea. Hopefully your trip is going smooth. My baby said my sound was muted, but it may be just delayed, as I figured. Like I was saying, hey, hun, hope your trip is going smooth and safely. If you've already left, I don't know. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing started, shall we? And get myself together here. So, hey. Hey, Sunflowers. Welcome back to another episode of BPD Squared Live. I'm extremely excited to get this thing going tonight. I'm excited to be back with you guys. So, today we're going to be talking about BPD and why validation matters so much to us, to those of us who have BPD. So, yeah, I would, let me get my screen here so I could share this with you guys. So, I want to start off this conversation or video, this live, with a quote that I got from one of the articles I used to do my research on this topic. So, and if you want to see it or read it for yourself, it will be linked in the flower box as well. It's definitely something I think you guys should check out. So, very quickly, I am going to read that quote. My bad, y'all. Oop. Hold on, let me fix this. Okay. My bad. I had a little slip, but we good. We good. Okay, so this quote is by Joe Haley, and it comes from the article. It's called "The Most Helpful Way to Support Someone with BPD." So the quote states, "Every time someone invalidates my emotions or tells me I shouldn't be feeling a certain way, it makes me feel more isolated with my condition, and it triggers that negative self-talk, such as, I'm a freak, I'm useless for feeling this way. I should be feeling X, not Y." So that this is definitely something we're going to talk about. There's a lot of times where we feel when we're trying to help someone who may have BPD, or just trying to help our friends in general when they come to us for advice, that there are ways that we may respond that may end up being invalidating towards them, even if it's not intentional. So we're going to go over that tonight, and some different ways that we can recognize those things, and the ways we can navigate around them. So, and I'm also using my script, so forgive me if I'm doing like this. But for those of you who are new here and just finding out who I am, first of all, thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for joining this live, or even if you're watching the playback, thank you for watching this video. My name is Brenda, and I started BPD Squared after I received my diagnosis, my dual diagnosis actually, of both bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. So BPD Squared in itself is a community and an advocacy that believes in opening the floor for healthy conversations about mental health amongst the general public. So with that being said, I wanted to be clear that although I am not a certified medical professional or counselor or therapist, meaning I cannot give you actual counseling or actual therapeutic advice, I do have resources which you guys can access. And what I do plan on doing with this platform is sharing my experiences with you guys, sharing my research, and sharing the lessons that I've learned along the way, how I've learned how to navigate these diagnoses in a more healthy-ish way. Speaking of resources, why does this keep doing that? I'm sorry, y'all. It keeps jumping ahead to what I don't want it to go to. So it keeps like restarting itself, but I'm getting to it. And to let you guys see this on screen as well, just letting you know that is the disclaimer. I am not a licensed or medical professional. I'm just sharing my experience and sharing the lessons that I've learned and the resources that I've gathered along the way as well. So again, speaking of resources, I will have linked in the description as well, or the flower box, these different resources. There will be links to the actual websites, as well as you can see, the numbers that you can either call or text to reach out to anyone if you or a loved one are experiencing any kind of mental health issues or any concerns, if you're in crises or anything like that. So any of these organizations can be of service to you. As you can see, there's ones that are specifically for the LGBTQIA community, those who may be hard of hearing or even deaf, people who only speak Spanish, things like that. So definitely look in the description box, the flower box below, and it will be linked on my website, all the different resources that you can use if you or someone is in need of help at this moment. Good, good. Now, let's get into the topic of tonight and answer the question, what is validation? So I'm a person that likes to know the definition behind things before I just start, using them or talking about things, because I want to make sure that I'm giving it its validity and that, I'm using the word correctly. So the definition that I found on Google says that validation is the action of checking or proving the validity or accuracy of something. It is also the recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile. So apparently the second definition is what we are focusing on tonight. So as Joe states in the article, the one I quoted earlier, validation is more than just agreeing with someone. It's also a way to show the person who's coming to you, or the sufferer, if you will, that you support them and their emotions. So one of the hardest things for me personally is to allow myself to actually feel, because, the emotions are so intense and they're so overwhelming at times, and I end up feeling guilty for having them in the first place. So what makes it worse, unfortunately, is someone else coming along and adding to that invalidation. Again, even if it's unintentional, it can lead to some very detrimental things. So if you don't know, BPD, the diagnosis itself, has 9 criteria. And in order for you to be actually diagnosed with it, you must meet 5 out of the 9 criteria. So one of those criteria is a distorted sense of identity, or a lack of a sense of identity. Because we don't feel we have an identity, we end up seeking others to help us navigate what is considered acceptable emotions or acceptable behavior. And it just makes us wonder, okay, what I'm feeling, is this right? Is it okay? Am I tripping? It's a way for us to say, okay, we don't really know, basically. Another example is the fear of abandonment. One of the actual top reasons or top signs that a person could be experiencing BPD. We constantly fear being left alone or being given up on. So to feel invalidated is honestly just another form of abandonment by our peers. So in so many words, let's say, what are the do's and don'ts of validation then? Like, what would be the right thing to do and what would be the wrong thing to do is very definitive, and I don't want to do that. But it's more of a, like I said, what I've learned along the way has been helpful for me, and what I've learned has been helpful for others. So one thing you must understand and must take in is that, like I said earlier, our emotions are extreme. Okay, they're top of the line extreme. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So there's another quote that I want to take from that article by Joe that states, thought needs to be given to the fact that the person is likely battling with both extreme feelings and simultaneous beliefs that those feelings are somehow wrong. So therefore, care needs to be taken to not inadvertently reinforce those beliefs when trying to help them feel better. So, like I said, those emotions are so intense, and it's kind of difficult to navigate around at times for others, because it's like, okay, to just be honest, BPD emotions are like 100 on 10. It's like they going up there. It's, my husband and Drea can attest to this. These emotions are so severe. Like they've seen my moments of rage. They've seen my moments of euphoria. They've seen all the there is no in between. It's either or it's so basically, when you're hearing out someone who has BPD, it must be understood that these feelings can basically feel like the bounds between life and death. And I know it's kind of extreme to say that, but that's really how it feels. It really feels like if I can't get this out, if I can't process this emotion, I feel like I'm losing it, right? I'm not going to make it. So, my husband put in the chat, yep. So, we have to understand that when it comes to BPD, being upset is not just being upset. It's physical pain. It is regret. It is spiraling. It's feeling everything all at once and then feeling nothing at all. That's how BPD emotions are. You're feeling like everything is piling up on you. You're filled with all this stuff like rage, anger, and you can even, like I said, euphoria and just unbridled joy. And then all of a sudden, nothing. You're empty. It's like nothing exists in you anymore. You just are there. You just exist. So, yeah. You know what? This is... I found something. Drea, don't laugh at me. But I found something. This is BPD brain. At least to me. This is BPD brain. There are two moods. There's nothing in between. There's either yay or there's nothing at all. You see what I'm saying? That's how BPD brain works, at least in my experience. So there's another article that I found. I will not go through the trouble of butchering this lady's name, but it's down there. And this article comes from her, this comes from her article, excuse me. These are the intense emotions of my borderline personality disorder. So it reads, I'm angry because my jeans are ripped. And they shouldn't have been ripped because I wasn't allowed to fall. Because I had to go on. And I'm sitting on my bed and I'm crying and I want to die. And I want to die because my jeans are ripped. I want to die because of my jeans. I'm tired and futile and I can't do anything but sleep and sleep more until I wake up crying. I just want to say, I definitely encourage you guys to read that whole article. It's a slam poetry. It's slam poetry, so it is written in a certain way. But to me, it is such a good explanation of how intense and how wayward these emotions get. You know what I mean? Especially when she gets to the part where she starts talking about love. Man, nail in the coffin right there. Point is pointed. Okay. And of course the article will be linked in the flower box as well. So I definitely encourage y'all to read that and check that out. But to get back to our point, basically coming into a conversation with this in mind, it definitely would be helpful in navigating your responses. So let's continue talking about how we can give support, but how giving support can also come off as dismissive. And what's up, Chris? Welcome in, my brother. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Pearl. I'm sorry, I don't want to ignore you. Hey, hun. So let me just say this. Again, these are my personal experiences. But y'all, if someone is coming to you and asking you for advice or asking you for help on something that they're struggling with and you know that they have a diagnosis, please, 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 baby, please, baby, please, baby, please, do not ask them this first. Have you been taking your meds? Please don't do that. Please, y'all, because that comes off as it's not only dismissive, it's offensive. because to me, it crosses that line. Well, it's kind of like gaslighting to me. But really what it says to me is that a person cannot experience these emotions or have these issues outside of being medicated. So it's like in a way, even though it's not a problem to ask the question in itself, I would just suggest that you don't ask the question as the first question. Like I said, that comes off as so invalidating, because it's like telling me that my emotions can't exist outside of this, or I wouldn't feel this way if I was taking my meds correctly. It's like I can't have these emotions regardless. So please, guys, that it's like I said, the question itself is not bad, but please don't let that be the first thing you ask somebody as a way to try to figure out why they're feeling the way they're feeling. Just don't do it. Okay, moving on from there. Now, again, being supportive while also being dismissive. If you have ever said to someone, "Oh, don't be mad about that. It's not that bad," or it's not. I know it seems that bad, but it's not really that serious. At least you did this. At least you did that. Put a yup in the chat if you've ever did that, if you're available to do so. Because, again, that comes off as dismissive, and therefore makes us feel invalidated. Because, like I said, these emotions are so intensified that you don't want to immediately go into trying to neutralize the person, I guess is the best way to put it. Because, to be honest, the main thing we want is just to be heard. And I will speak on that in just a moment. But yeah, it's even though you come into this with the best intentions by saying those things like, "Oh, it's not that bad and don't feel that way," that's really all we hear is, "You shouldn't feel that way." That's what we hear. If I come to my friend and I'm like, "Yo, this happened, and I just don't, I this, I that, I da da da," and then they say, "Well, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal." Immediately, I'm invalidated. Immediately, you're telling me my emotions don't matter, and what I'm feeling is just a nah. Don't call out like that, CC. Hey, my girl. Thank you for joining. Speaking of my best friend, so she has this thing, y'all, and I think y'all should use this. She has this thing she does that whenever I go off about something, the first thing she will do is acknowledge my feelings. She's really good at that. So if I'm going off about something and I'm yelling, I'm screaming, or I'm crying, or I'm fussing, or I'm like, "I just don't know what to do," the first thing she'll do is be like, "I hear you. That sounds really hard. I'm sorry that was your experience. I'm sorry you're going through that." For me, immediately neutralizes my situation. Immediately puts me at ease, because then, like I said, one of the main things is that I'm being heard. Somebody actually is listening to my pain, right? They recognize, and they're showing me that they're recognizing my pain by actively listening, which is the next point. What I feel the main thing, like I said before, that people with BPD are searching for is to be heard. They just want to know that somebody's actively listening and understanding them. Well, not even understanding them, just giving them the space to say, "This sucks. I'm hurt. I'm mad. I'm this. I'm that," without immediate judgment or immediate shutdown or immediate fixers. That's the thing that I feel is the most important for people with BPD. Like, you have to get to a point of understanding or trying to recognize those pain points. if you got a friend that's venting to you and they're going off about, I'm just so confused, or I'm so frustrated, or I'm so angry, one of the things that works for me is to say that, repeat that back to that person, especially if they're saying it constantly. Repeat that back to that person. I understand you're angry. I hear that you're angry. I'm sorry that you're frustrated. Yes, that does sound confusing. Those kind of statements are so helpful. It doesn't mean that you're trying to fix anything. It doesn't mean that you're trying to make it better or anything. It's just, it gives the person some, like I said, it gives that person validity in their feelings. Because again, a lot of times we're not trying to get it fixed. We just want to know that you care enough to listen to what I'm saying, is what I'm saying. So another really, 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 really important thing that my best friend does, and that she taught me to do, is she'll ask me, hello, greetings to you as well. But a very important thing that she will ask me is, do you want advice or do you need to vent? That, to me, is one of the most important questions you could ever ask to a person, especially if they got BPD. That's good to ask anybody that's coming to you with any kind of issues, of course, but I think it's so important because, at least for me, it relieves me of my guilt of coming to her in the first place, because no matter how much she tells me, that's what we're here for, that's what friends are for, and we're supposed to come to each other in times of need, and da 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 da. It doesn't matter how many times she tells me that, I still feel guilty a lot of times, because I don't want to be dumping my problems on people like that, because people got their own problems, and I just don't want to feel like I'm laying out something too heavy on someone, especially if they weren't prepared for it. But regardless, that question is so helpful because it also allows me the chance to make decisions on what the outcome is going to be from me venting, right? So basically it makes me determine, determining if I want advice or do I want to vent. Now I have an end goal, right? So now I'm just not on the phone or on text message just going in talking about, oh my God, I'm just mad. It's like, okay, do you want to just say you're mad, or do you actively want to do something about this right now? And to me, that helps navigate my mind a little bit better, because now it's not doing this anymore. It's more, okay, we've got these two lanes now. These two lanes. Instead of it being this, it's now, okay, I got two lanes. I can pick to go down this lane, or I can pick to go down this lane. And that really, really, really helps me out so much. So thank you, Andrea, for being that friend to me in those times, because you know what I'm talking about. I'm still sorry that I yelled. Anyway. But yeah, so I think, that's one question you definitely should employ whenever somebody comes to you, or whenever you're coming to somebody. Think about this. Do you want advice, or do you just need to vent? Okay, so we are 30 minutes in, and I just want to say thank y'all for being here and watching, and I hope y'all are enjoying this so far, and hopefully you are learning something and you're finding value in this, because I put a lot of work into this. I feel like I did pretty good job. I hope y'all like it. I hope this looks good. But yeah, if you are learning something, if this is something that you feel is valuable to yourself and could be valuable to others, please leave a like and make sure you share it so that other people get to watch it. So you can, especially if you are a person who is within the BPD community, who is you're all sunflowers, but if you're within the BPD community and you want somebody to, I guess so. As long as, you made me lose my train of thought. Hold on. What is, we over here about to cry. I'm dead. Okay. But yeah, y'all, if this is, if you found this to be valuable, if you found this to be helpful to you in any way, leave a like on this, and also share it with somebody who you feel would benefit from this information. Or if it's something that you feel would help explain yourself a little bit better, especially if you are a person that, especially if you are a person that deals with BPD as well. Oh, shoot. That's C. What's up, man? Oh, no, now we crying. I don't want to make y'all cry. I hope it's like good tears. Is it good tears? Please let it be good tears. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Like I said, and also leaving a like and sharing this video lets me know that my work was not in vain and I'm not out here looking like trash. I don't want to look like trash. So there's that. While I get this next slide set up, let me get a sip of water here. Oh, by the way, we got merch. Shameless plug that I'm not shamed about at all. Good cry, feeling community. Tears are cleaning. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you, C. I appreciate that, man. Because you're right. Tears are cleansing. Yes, they are. Water is cleansing in general. Well, I'm drinking my water out of my new tumblers. They will be on pre-order very, very soon. So y'all keep your eyes out for that. I have not solidified a date just yet, but they will be on pre-order very, very soon. But here's a quick review for you. So these are glass, frosted, and they have a bamboo top. And they come with a straw, of course. The straw is nice and sturdy, too. I really like it. So, yeah, these are really, really... I really like these. I'm very glad that I decided to go with these. So, yeah, I'll have all the information for them ASAPidly. So, like I say, keep an eye on my Instagram and my Facebook so that you know when these go live. Okay, thanks. All right, now, moving on to our next section. We are going to talk about, switching screens, here we go. We're going to talk about validation and accountability. So, first of all, hold on. I gotta fix something real quickly. Right. Let me see. Okay. I'll let my wife know. Bet. She should be watching this with you right now, sir. No, I appreciate it. Okay, husband, I need your help real quick. I need to make sure that you can hear this. Can y'all hear something?
There's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me.
I just need to know if y'all could hear that. I don't know yet. But anyway. So, excuse me. Alrighty. Alright, thank y'all for giving me that brief second. So, bet. So you could hear that video playing in the background. Okay, cool. That's all I need to know because bet. Yay. So yeah, sorry y'all, and it's a delay on my end, so I'm getting your messages a little bit late, so forgive me if I don't answer right away. But yeah, so speaking of validation, we're going to play a video that I found, which I think is hilarious, but is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty accurate to the BPD experience, at least in my experience. So I'll have to switch this over and we'll play it. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I can't make it go any louder. So if it's very, very low, I do apologize for that. But I will have this video linked so you can see it for yourself, so you can actually hear what's being said. If it's not that clear, I'll even put on the captions as well so y'all can see.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
Yeah, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See,
out.
you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just... Sometimes it's like there's this achy... I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. Ow. If you would just...
Don't...
Try to see things my way.
So yeah, thank y'all for watching that with me. Go back one. So yeah, as you can see, the main point that I gathered from this video is, you know, a lot of times we're not, like I said earlier, and if I'm being repetitive, I do apologize, but that's just a thing for me. But you know, the thing with us, for people with BPD, the thing is that we're not really always looking for somebody to fix the problem. We just want to be heard. I mean, you know, the thought, like I said before, the thoughts are so jumbled and it's just so much going on that we just want a way to actually voice what's going on in our heads. We just want to be able to get out those feelings because we're ruminating on these varying thoughts. And it's like, okay, I don't want to just sit here and continuously cycle through. I need to process this out. And so when I come to you and talk about it, I just want to say what's on my mind so I can get it out of my head. And I'm not looking for you to fix it. I'm not looking for you to do anything other than hear what I'm saying, right? And so, you know, with that being said, the other thing we have to be aware of, though, especially if you have BPD, you're still responsible. You are still responsible to acknowledge the possible causes of the reasons why you're in the situation you're in, right? Because as we saw, she had a whole nail sticking out her forehead. Like, it is an extremely obvious thing. The whole nail is sticking out her forehead. And you know, and I know that it's because it's so painfully obvious what the issue is. A lot of times, like I said, we even know. The problem is we even know, like she mentioned, it's not about the nail. And that's the thing that I feel like might be the most confusing and frustrating thing for a person, especially dealing with someone with BPD, because it's painfully obvious what's right there in front of you, but at the same time, like we said before, it's not about the nail. It's about how we feel about the nail. My husband's probably gonna get mad at me saying that, but it's the truth. It is the absolute truth. It's not about the nail. It's how we feel about the nail. And yes, hubby, best friend, and all the people who have dealt with me and my outbursts, I know how annoying it is to look me in my face and be like, you know what the problem is, and yet you won't do anything about it. But that's the thing. It's not that we won't do anything about it. It's the fact that we have to take time to understand why first. So it's kind of like, you walking and you step on the thumbtack. Or you step on a leg. Maybe not thumbtack. You step on a Lego. That's probably worse. But so you walk in and you step on a Lego, and and the Lego, as you know, first of all, You wouldn't have stepped on the Lego if you would have just picked it up, right? You would have stepped on it if you were paying attention, whatever your reasoning behind it could be. But the thing that we are concerned about at that moment is not the fact that we stepped on the Lego. Why we stepped on the Lego. The fact of the matter is we stepped on the Lego and it hurts like hell right now. It hurts, right? So our thing is, but the thing is not what caused the Lego to be there initially. The thing is, I'm hurt by this Lego. That's what I'm focused on right now. I need to process through that first before I can get to a point of saying why this caused me hurt. If I hope that give me something in the chat that says you understood what I said. Put a Y in the chat if you understood what I said. So if you're feeling where I'm coming from. So yeah. For all of my perceptive friends out there, again, I know how frustrating it is to see the issue right in front of you. But, just have patience with us. Be patient about it because we will get to it eventually. It's just like I said, we have to process what we feel about it first. So that way we can actively move on to the part of acknowledging the why behind it. So, and for those of us that actually deal with BPD, do not just ignore what's causing you problems because you feel a certain way about it or because you feel like it gives you some type of validity. So, yes, you are allowed to get your thoughts and feelings out. You need to process them in the way that is healthy and safe, first of all, but definitely process your feelings. But you're not allowed, and I may be so bold to say, you're not allowed to just stay in a problem just because you feel it validates you, right? I don't think that's fair to yourself, and it's definitely not fair to those who you come to for help. Definitely don't just stay there because you feel like this pain gives me validation. That's not what this is about. The validation is recognizing the pain and then moving on from it. So, one last thing I definitely want to say, especially on the accountability part, is when you're venting to someone, please make sure that that person has the capacity to hear you out. And what I mean by that is don't always assume that you can go to people, even if it is your best friend, even if it is your husband, even if it is your sister, your cousin, your mama, whoever it may be. Don't just assume that people have the capacity to take in everything you're saying all at once. Especially, they might have had a hard day. They might be going through something. They could be going through loss or whatever the case is. So one thing that I've learned how to do is when I come into a conversation, and like I said, my husband can attest to this, Andrea can attest to this, a lot of people can attest to this, that I had to learn how to do is, hey, I'm going through something. Do you have the energy or do you have the capacity to hear me out right now? And most of the time, it's a yes, they'll let me get it out. But sometimes it's like, well, I need a second to do X, Y, and Z, or not today, I'm busy, but, you can text me or we'll find another way for me to get it out, and they'll, communicate with me the best way that they can. But it is still a fact that we have to be respectful of the fact that people got lives, other people got stuff to do too. And so it's not always about us. And it ain't about you either. He hears my neighbors. He's always barking at my neighbors when they want to go in their own house. So anyway, I'm going to read this real quick. Validation means acknowledged, heard, recognized. I believe I understand. I compare it to washing the dishes. You smell something disgusting, but not doing the dishes. That's very good. That's very good. That's a very good comparison. Very good analogy. That's good. See, yes, absolutely. It's like you see the problem is there, and then you're just like, okay, the problem is there, and I'm gonna just keep complaining about the thing. I'm gonna just keep complaining about the thing because it gives me a reason to complain about a thing. That's not, no. We're not just out here complaining for the sake of complaining. That's not what we need to be doing. Like I said earlier, your active responsibility is to I told you, come get your nephew. It is our active responsibility to be aware of these things and to, like I said, healthily and safely process them. So, yeah, like I said before, the point I was on earlier is that I try my best not to, dump too much on people, especially because I know that what I have to say is heavy. I'm already feeling heavy. And then when you pass that on, no, your grammar's fine. You said it perfectly. It's great. But when you pass that energy on, we have to realize that energy is transferred, right? So if you're feeling heavy about something and you pass that on to somebody, especially if they weren't prepared for it, you're dumping a lot on a person. So it's just a matter of being aware and being, respective of another person's space and energy. Because, I've come across some situations where people are really out here using their illnesses as an excuse. And they're using this. What are you doing? Sir, go sit down. But people are actively out here using their illnesses, especially their mental illnesses, as excuses for horrible behavior. Again, please, y'all, don't be that person. Don't be that person. Your diagnosis and the symptoms of your diagnosis are a reason, but they are not an excuse. I'm going to say that once more again for the people in the back. Your diagnosis and your symptoms are a reason, but they are not an excuse. Because once you find out what your issue is, once you find out the causes of your behavior, the causes of your feelings, the causes of how you process things, you are now responsible for managing and navigating those things. It is your responsibility to teach yourself what your triggers are, what your ins and outs are, how, it's your responsibility to start learning when you feel the rage coming, when you feel the depression coming, and I will be honest, I'm not saying that, you're just going to know. You're not just going to know that it's coming all the time. Like I said, this is over time of me learning my own triggers, me learning how these things come up in me. But it's still, at the end of the day, when you know what's going on with you, it is now your responsibility to recognize those things within yourself. Because at the end of the day, yes, you go to a therapist, you go to a psychiatrist, you got your friends and everything, and they can tell you what to do and they can help you out as much as they can. But at the end of the day, you are still responsible for you. Because if you didn't have a therapist, if you didn't have a psychiatrist, if you didn't have friends who could navigate with you, what would you do? Right? So at the end of the day, you are responsible for you. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox off that for right now. But yeah, my dad used to tell me, it is not your fault, but it is your problem. Absolutely. Absolutely. It may not be your fault, but it is your problem. Take that. I'm going to put that on a shirt. I'm going to put that on a shirt. New shirt coming very soon, guys. So, like I said, one more point on that, and we're going to start wrapping up. Basically, a quick story. Had an argument with a friend. And after I'm sorry, y'all. He's over there. Luke is really in here joining the chat. Like, he is over here chewing his bone and having the time of his life. I see people dumping or venting on people too early in a relationship. Especially, shut up, Kenny. Especially if they just met them and like them a lot. That is true. And that's something we can talk about in another live, because that could be that to me. Well, let me not say that. I'm not validated to say it. I'm not able to say that. But in my personal experience, that is a symptom. that is a symptom of what I deal with. Because again, that whole dumping on people thing, it's like, it's another form of seeking that validation, because it's like, I want to know that if I tell you this stuff, I want to know that if I'm putting this on you, that you'll accept me anyway. That's kind of what it is. We're looking for acceptance. And so we are what we call open books, right? We're open books about it, because we're like, I just want to know that if I do these things, and if you know this about me, that you're not going to leave me. So if you are going to leave me, I'm going to go ahead and say it now, so I can get it out the way, so I know that I don't get too invested in you. So if you can deal with this part of me now, then you can probably deal with everything else with me. So that, like I said, from my experience, that's what that means. See, that's what that is. But yeah, it's hard to navigate around that. I ain't gonna lie to you. And no ma'am, Luke does not have no Luke ain't got no testimony. Luke ain't got no testimony. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna get back to my it's supposed to be a quick story, y'all. Luke, it's supposed to be a quick story, so I'm gonna get back to my quick story. So basically, I had this argument with a friend, and I knew that I was about to go into a rage episode. I felt it coming. And the reason why is because after I processed through and realized I felt invalidated and I felt abandoned. I see what you guys see. I'm gonna read it in a minute. Yeah, so I felt invalidated and I felt abandoned when that situation happened. Like, we were on the phone, everything was cool. They said what they had to say, and like, I felt that change. I felt that shift in me. As soon as they said what they said, I was like, oh, abandonment. Oh, you're not valid. That's how I felt, right? So at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm going to hang up, because, and I let them know the truth. I'm frustrated and I'm angry, but I'm going to hang up, and I'm going to take time to process this. And when I'm ready, I'll call you back and we'll talk about it. I even went so far as to call the person back to be like, okay, I just want to make sure I heard what you said correctly, because we can be real good, especially like I said earlier, that cutoff point. So when we hear something, first of all, my experience is when I hear something that I don't really agree with, or makes me feel those emotions of abandonment or invalidation, I dissociate. So I immediately go into this mode of, oh my God, I'm shutting down, right? I'm shutting down. It's kind of like, in the scene of Get Out, right? Where the ladies, doing the thing with the spoon and the tea and crap. And then she says what she says, and he starts sinking. That's the feeling that I get, or at least that's the feeling that I got in that moment. So it's that sinking feeling of, and it's like everything is starting to fade away. Like, everything fades to darkness. The sounds are getting muffled. You can't see, you can't hear, you can't think, you can't breathe, you can't move. It's just everything just goes, it's just gone at that moment. So, like I said, that, that the situation, and it's not that they said anything bad. They did not say anything bad. It was just, it caught me off guard. But I took the time to get off the phone, and I went off with my husband. So I took my time to process. He helped me through that. Thank you again, babe. You're a real one. He helped me get through that. I processed my emotions out, did what I had to do. And, later on down the line, after a few conversations and after a few, yelling matches, we eventually sat down and talked, and was like, they basically were like, I was worried about that, because I know about this with you, right? Like, I know you can go into those episodes. I've witnessed these episodes. I've seen what happens when you get overwhelmed with your emotions. So my thing was that I wanted to protect that. I wanted to protect you, and I wanted to keep you from going through that. And I told them, my reaction is not your responsibility. And that's not just for people with BPD. That's for everybody. Understand this, y'all. Your reaction is not the other person's responsibility. My diagnosis is no one else's responsibility but mine. So the only thing you as a person, especially if you're coming to someone and, you're like, hey, I'm going through something, or we're at an impasse, or something's going on between us that needs to be corrected. The only thing you're responsible for is to express to that person what you are feeling. That's your only responsibility, is to let that person know, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. And then after that, you have nothing else to do with that. Well, how they react, how they respond is not your responsibility. I'm not saying that you won't feel some type of way about it. I'm not saying that it won't affect you in any way, but it's not your responsibility how they handle the news that you give them. So, you can't control that stuff. But do remember, how you feel about stuff is valid. Your feelings are valid, but you cannot place your feelings on someone else and make them carry that for you. That's not fair. That's not for them to do. So, how you react, how you express yourself, how you receive information, at the end of the day, you are the ultimate controller, and you are accountable for you and your actions alone. So, I'm going to switch this real quick. Just want to know if you guys have any questions or concerns, or is there anything that you want clarified, or just anything. I'm gonna open the floor for y'all to put some stuff in the chat, say what you gotta say, Chelsea, real stuff, and we'll give y'all the floor to say some stuff. So they want to tell them everything about themselves. They want to tell you everything about themselves. I say cool, but not so fast, or not so much at one time. I try to respect everyone's experiences. I see people getting upset if you have an opposing view. That is true. That you validate their opposition. I validate theirs too. Especially between a mother and a daughter. That's a conversation for another day. But I feel you on that. And that is true. Like, yes. That's a way to put it, that validation doesn't always mean that I agree with you either. That's a very good point that you brought up. I can validate you and still not agree with you, right? I can acknowledge your feelings. I can acknowledge what you're going through. I can understand your point. But that does not mean that I am also obligated to think that you're right. So that's another thing that I feel like a lot of us, not just with BPD, but a lot of us need to work on. You know what I mean? It's validation doesn't mean you're right. Remember that. Validation does not mean you are right. Validation just shows, like I said earlier, what you are feeling is being recognized. What you are feeling is understood. What you are feeling is given its space to exist. But that does not mean you are right. I love y'all. I say that a lot. Sometimes I just want to be heard. I'm not looking for the other person to agree. Right. And that's, like I said earlier, a lot of times what we're saying, we just want it to be said. It just needs to be said. Because, I'm going to tell y'all right now, every day when I walk in Luke, I have great conversations with myself in spirit. It's great. Because, again, sometimes, like you said, it's not a matter of I need someone to give me a yes or a no. It's not a matter of I need this or that. It's a matter of I just need to know that what I'm feeling and what I'm going through is valid, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not even that it's valid, it just makes sense. Why? Okay, y'all, do y'all see what he put in the chat? I need an explanation. I need an explanation. Oh man. All right, so I need an explanation. So we're wrapping up, guys, and we're getting to the end of this segment. So I just want to, see, we got one more section, just one more point that I want to make with you guys is there are, like we talk about, okay, we said all the things about, okay, this is how you recognize this stuff. This is how you go through these things and everything like that. So my chat is wild. I find them wanting to agree. Oh, yeah. I find them wanting me to agree with them. Say nothing countering their view or perspective. Yeah. You're going to find a lot of those. But again, that's not your responsibility. You don't have to agree. And if they're mad about it, they just don't have to be mad about it. I don't have to explain what brings peace. Ducks bring peace? I need the research. I need the research. Oh, shoot. So, y'all, we going over time, messing around with ducks and such. But yeah, y'all. So on the screen, you see that there are different affirmations that you as the supporter can give to someone, and you as a person can give to yourself. So for yourself, you can celebrate your small wins. So like I said, when you are looking for those validating moments, what I do is a lot of times I'll just tell myself, you know what, you did a thing. So like I have a task list, right? And I check off my task list, and every time I check off a task, I'll be like, yeah, you did that thing. It's just those small things that, because a lot of times, especially when we're searching for the validation, a lot of times it's the looking for the confirmation that we're doing good. It's like, I just want to know that I'm doing something right for once. So in those moments, you can give yourself those mini moments of validation. Like every night I go most nights I go in my kitchen and I clean up my kitchen, put my dishes away and put them in the dishwasher. And for me, that's that small win. Every day it's like, and because I wake up in the morning and I go in the kitchen, it's like, oh, the kitchen's clean. Oh, I did that for myself. Oh, very good, Brenda. I do that and it's great. So if you're looking for those moments of validation, or if you're feeling a little invalid, just find those little small things that you've done, in those moments. Like in our group chat, she's like, okay, I got home, I folded my laundry, and I did this and I did that. I feel like I accomplished something in my life, and that's really all it is. It's those small things. Now, when it comes to the next point, which is use dialectical skills, that is something that I definitely recommend that you guys work on with a professional, because those are more therapeutic skills, but they're basically skills that help you kind of see both sides of that spectrum without being judgmental towards yourself. So it's like, yeah, I watched Netflix all day, but it was a form of self-care. So instead of me laying in bed all day or me just not doing anything, it's like I actively got up and tried to do something to put myself in a better mood type of thing. So again, the dialectical part, I have to bring somebody on who is a little, who is skilled in that, so we can actually have that conversation. But it's something I definitely encourage y'all to look into. And when it comes to you as the supporter wanting to give that validation to, when it comes to you as a supporter giving that validation to a friend or to a person in need, little small things, acknowledge sorry, y'all, I'm trying to think and breathe at the same time, but acknowledge the positive with those people. Acknowledge the positive points. So little things like I said earlier, what my best friend does with me is like, I recognize that, and I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you made your point. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. I'm glad that you were brave enough to come to me about a problem. I'm glad that you're able to talk about it. You know, those small positive points, those positivity points really, really really help a lot. And finally, those gentle reminders of reality. One of the things with BPD, and I do plan on speaking about this maybe next week, is that we like to think in definitives a lot. So we end up saying, man, this always happens, or I never do anything right. You know, I'm never, you know, the extremes, right? Like I said, we think in extremes. It's black and white. It's no gray area. So, you know, one of the things that my husband is really good at doing is he does that. He gives me those gray area moments. He reminds me of those little things. And he'll be like, you know, it might be bad right now, but it wasn't always bad. Or you may be feeling this right now, but that's not something you feel all the time. And he'll even ask me, is this something you feel all the time, or do you feel this right now? And in those moments, it's like, yeah, I have to take a step back and realize, okay, I'm just upset right now at this moment. This is not an always thing. This is a right now thing. So when you're in those, and this is something you can do for yourself as well, with a lot of skill and practice. But yeah, give yourself and give the person you're supporting those gentle reminders of reality, especially when they start using those extremes and those definitives. Remind them, you know, right now is right now. Keep them in right now. That's very, very important. Keep those moments in the right now. Let me see. I'm just looking through my script to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, so I have an example. So a while back, like right when I was getting diagnosed, actually, I was telling him, you know, I feel like nobody listens to me, and I'm so alone, and nobody cares about me, and nobody cares what I'm going through. I'm just stuck out here. I'm just by myself, right? And he said, I understand you feel that way. And it may seem that way right now, but you know, you're not alone. I'm here. I'm listening to you. And I really had to think about that. And I was like, you know what? He is here. He's listening to me, right? And he'll even put Luke in there, talk about, yeah, Luke's even here. Like, see, Luke's right here on the bed with us. We're talking. We're all here. So, you know, it's like I said, those gentle reminders of reality, keeping you in the present and letting you know what's there right then and right now really, 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 really helps. So thanks, babe. You're a real one. I'm reading. Small things matter. Yes, they do. And my husband says self-accomplishments bring self-validation. I like that. You're so right. That was Luke's testimony. Okay, fair. I'll back up off my baby. That was fair. That's fair. So yeah, that's Luke's testimony. And thank you for that. Yes, he is a really good husband. Y'all, I don't know what I would do without him. I'm being for real when I say that. He has been with me through the craziest stuff, y'all. He's been with me through hospital stays, through psychiatric freakouts. He's been with me through some stuff, and I'll eventually talk about it, you know, in another maybe video or live. I mean, I've talked about it in previous videos that you should check out if you haven't checked them out already. But yeah, he's been with me through literal thick and thin, y'all. So he a real one. He better not go nowhere, because I don't know what I'd do without him. Play Dark Souls. It's a punishing game. Once you learn the patterns of your opposition, it feels great. You know what? I think he even mentioned to me to play Dark Souls at one point. I think he said I would like Dark Souls. So that's a sign, honey. Go ahead and give me Dark Souls. But yeah, that's it, Sunflowers. We are at the end of the live. Yay! So, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Again, I hope that this was valuable and you learned something that, meant something to y'all, and definitely is worth a share and a like. So please, if you like this, leave a like on this video and definitely share it with somebody that you want to, know how to give support. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not just for people with BPD. Like, we're all struggling out here. This economy is economy in, and this economy be economy in, and this world be worlding, and the inflation is inflating. So therefore, we should all, take a moment to step back and realize where we are mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. So, yeah, so everything that I've talked about in this video, all the articles I've used, the video, and all the resources, which I'm posting on the screen again, all the resources will be linked in my flower box, my description box. Like I said, it will be on my website, so you can find everything there. And also there'll be extra resources like NAMI, which is basically the mental health database. So if you have any questions, especially when it's concerning like an actual diagnosis or symptoms or things you may be going through, these are the resources that you can use. As well, also follow me. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because I'm active on Instagram all the time. You can follow me on TikTok too, but that's kind of a thing. But definitely follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, follow me on my Facebook page, and definitely subscribe especially if y'all like this and this was great. If you enjoyed this conversation, there will be more. So of course, like I said, I plan on doing this at the same time, same day next week. So definitely I want to get that set up for you guys. And yeah, make sure you're going to BPDsquared online, the store. Like I said, these tumblers will be going on sale very soon. I have journals, I have mugs, I have shirts, and also have my sunflower bracelets that are, well, there's a camera. Have the sunflower bracelets that are on sale as well. So all of our portions of our proceeds are going to go towards funding for different projects, helping us spread awareness about, throughout the community, spreading awareness for mental health in general, and also goes towards helping feed families in need and just helping people in general. So definitely share the links that you find on my socials, share the information that you have learned tonight. Hey, you made it. I know you made it. I'm sorry. I'm ending now. But, yeah. Let's see. Sunflower paste. I'm gonna fight you. Anyway. Y'all, I got weird friends. Anyway, so yes, when you go to BPDsquared, like I said, you can shop on there and get some merch, so that way you can be showing your support and get something that you feel is valuable to you. And if you're not really interested in buying anything like physical, you can always donate and, show your support that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. Like I said, I really, really appreciate y'all being here and rocking with me. I waited till the end act. I appreciate that. Little sister energy. But yeah, I appreciate y'all rocking with me throughout this video. Again, like, share, subscribe, and send this to as many people as you know, so that we can, spread this conversation and, really open a door to really talk about these things. Because, it's not just us out here suffering. Everybody out here suffering with something. So I feel like the more that we are having these conversations, the more that we're opening the door for it, the easier it is for people to really, to really have the conversation, to talk and feel better about themselves. So one last question. This is what I'm gonna leave you with. What makes you feel validated. So yeah, that's it for tonight, Sunflowers. I love y'all very much. Thank you so much for coming and joining me tonight. And yeah. I love you. I love you so much. And I'll see y'all in the next one.